To the table. Man, I was out of town the last couple of days, and man, I had some really neat, different experiences that were there. Man, we were just actually south of Branson at this place called Big Cedar, and man, it's a lot of outdoor stuff. It's beautiful this time of the year. It's the leaves are changing and all that stuff. And one of the first things I noticed was there's a bunch of rocks. Man, it's called Table Rock Lake for a reason. There's rocks all over the place. One of the first things I noticed, I was walking by this big old thing of rocks, and I noticed in this one rock was this plant that was growing out of this rock. And I had to stop and I had to go over there and check it out because I wanted to look at it. I was like, man, what the heck, And I got up close and I looked, and man, somehow over the course of time, there was a seed that fell from somewhere. Man, a bird could have ate something, pooped it out, the wind could have blown it. I don't know how I got there, but somehow a seed got into this one little small crack of this rock. No soil, no dirt, no nothing else. And man, it took root in that spot, and it ended up growing and producing whatever type of plant that was. You know what it reminded me of? Man, it reminded me of those times in my life where somebody said something to me, did something for me, shared something with me where it made an impact. And man, somebody made a deposit in a part of my life, in my soul, that man, at that time, man, it couldn't produce any life. But over the course of time, no matter how adverse the situations might have been, how dry, how arid, how whatever it was, man, those seeds, man, see, they never leave that place where they're at. And man, as I looked at that plant that was growing out of there, I reminded myself that, man, how many times have we had seeds placed in our own life at a certain time in a certain season? Maybe we had somebody that was, invested in us. Maybe it was a friend or family member. It could have been a sponsor. And man, that seed sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there over the course of time, never producing anything until when? Till it was time for that seed to do what was in that seed to do. See, and I think that's what we don't recognize. That, man, there's a seed on the inside of us, man, and it's called the seed of greatness. Every single one of us has it. And man, when that seed is realized in us, in our mind, when we recognize that seed's there, see, it doesn't matter if it's not in the ground. It doesn't matter if it's not in a flower bed. It doesn't matter if it's not in a place where it's conducive for it to grow and produce and do whatever it is. See, when that seed is where it is, you can't change the fact that seed is a seed. And inside that seed, man, it's the DNA that God put there to produce whatever it is. Man, if it's a flower, it's going to create a flower. If it's a tree, it's going to turn into a tree. Man, if it's a fruit or a vegetable, it's going to turn into a fruit or a vegetable. You can't change what's on the inside of that seed. And even in the wrong place, that seed is still going to be a seed, and it's still going to do what it's supposed to do. It's going to bring forth life. Man, I was thinking about you guys. I was thinking about us, where we are in our journey, man. You come to this situation, you come into rehab or whatever it is, and man, we're putting all this stuff out there for you. Now, you know what? You can choose to wipe those seeds off the table. But man, that seed is still a seed. And no matter where that seed goes, man, it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. At some point, it's going to get in the right environment and the right amount of sun and the right amount of moisture and whatever little soil it needs, it's going to produce. And so, man, what is it in you? What seed is it that's in you that you've been carrying around, pushing it off to the side, not really paying attention to the fact that it was there, that somebody said to you a long time ago? See, I know this. The day that I realized what I wanted to do, man, my boss made the statement to me. He said, man, I'm thinking about putting a rehab in this place. And it was like 11 years ago. Man, when he said that, man, I immediately said, I know what I want to do when I grow up. Man, I can't tell you prior to that moment how many times my wife had said, if you could do anything you could dream of, what would it be? What would you want to do? Where would you want to do it? You know what I'd say? I said, I don't know. But you know what? That seed was in there the whole time, just waiting for me to be in the right place when somebody says the right thing, where I immediately realized, man, I want to pursue that. Man, I met this young lady. I met two people. I was walking down to go fishing, and there was this guy sitting up on the balcony reading his Bible. And I said, hey man, what's the good word say? He said, man, I'm reading in Acts chapter 6. I said, man, that's awesome. Man, and I walked on by, went down there, and I felt like the Lord's like, man, you need to go give that man a book. I was like, Lord, man, I don't know that guy. Man, that guy's going to think I'm crazy. He's up there reading his Bible. He's on vacation or whatnot. Man, I couldn't shake that feeling. Man, so when I walked back up, I said, hey, man, I said, do you read for pleasure? He said, man, this is pleasure. I said, man, that's more than pleasure. I said, man, that is a necessity. I said, but what about other things? He said, yeah, I read. I said, man, I got something for you. And I came back, and I said, man, I want to give you this book. He said, well, what is it? I said, man, I wrote this book. It's a story of my life. And so we just kind of started talking. Well, come to find out, this guy, he is the vice president of business development for this whole Big Cedar Lodge where we were at. I had no idea. I don't know if I gave him a seed or he gave me a seed, but we exchanged, pleasantries, and we went on about our business. Man, about 30 minutes later, there's a family that's staying across the road from us, and they're upstairs and they're outside, and my wife's out there talking to them, and I heard something, and I came out and I said something. And I will tell anybody and everybody, man, I've been to prison 2 times. I had a 10-year sentence once. I had a 20-year sentence twice. I served 10 years in prison. I did my 10 years out of prison. Lord got a hold of my heart. I've never been the same since. Man, and started talking about being in recovery. And man, this lady comes out. Man, she's 41 years old. She's got 64 days clean. I said, man, look, I got something I want to give you. So I go and get a book. I write something in it, and we sit up there talking. And man, she's like, man, I'm 41 years old. I got a good job. I got a kid. Man, my last binge, I didn't show up to pick my kid up for school. And man, I convinced myself that it was okay to drink, even though I didn't have a drinking problem. But that drink led me to go do cocaine for like 60-something days. She was MIA. And I thought about that. I'm like, my gosh, man. See, we listened to that song, and it was repeatedly saying the word, remember, remember, remember. See, for me, I've never forgotten where I came from. I never forgot spending that time in prison. I never forgot going to jail numerous times. I never forgot all of those things that equated to a screwed up life. But you know what? When I got to a place in prison where I was clear-minded and sober, man, I started to recall all of those things, those seeds that people deposited in me when I was screwed up and out of my mind. See, those seeds in that environment, under that circumstance, they weren't going to produce any life for me. Not at all. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, because I wasn't at the right place in my life for those seeds to produce fruit. But you know what? I carried those with me that whole time. Man, I started remembering things that people had said to me, that it was like the light bulb just kept coming on over and over and over. Every time I turn around, man, something I remember either my grandmother said, or Sunday school person, or business person. At the time, none of it made any sense to me. But man, when it did, when I got in that place, man, because it was literally like I was that rock. And man, there was no soil, no substance for my life. Those seeds, I've been carrying them around, just waiting for the right opportunity for them to start to spring forward and give me life. Man, I can tell you today, man, every single one of those things that I heard, that was shared with me, man, they were defining moments for me, that I made the decision that, man, I'm no longer going to let this define me. Man, I'm going to live under this new definition. Man, and it's been a difference maker. So here you are. Man, what do you think? What do you feel? Man, is there anything that comes to your mind that people have told you over the course of your life? People that may have tried to speak faith or speak life to you. See, there's plenty of those bad instances when we can go back and say, oh yeah, man, I grew up and my family told me I was a loser, I was an addict, I wasn't going to amount to nothing, I was a piece of crap. See, all of those things are also seeds that we've carried. You know what? Those are seeds, though, that we can take and we can flush down the toilet, because those seeds are never going to produce life. Those aren't the seeds that you're intended to carry around in your heart and your mind and your belief system, because those seeds don't produce life. Man, all of the other ones, they definitely do. So today, man, it literally is a new day. Man, you have an opportunity to decide how you want this day to go. Man, some of you woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Some of you woke up early, wasn't ready to do it. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's right. Early in the morning, here I am trying to give you a pep talk about how to live your life and what you can do, because it worked for me. But you know what? That's the awesome thing about it. Man, success, it doesn't change. No matter how you try to redefine it, man, success is still success. You know what success is to me? It's really just putting one good decision together with another good decision. And you do that repetitively over the course of time, it equals success. Sometimes it gets you a big office. Sometimes it gets you more money. Man, sometimes it just gives you a better life. Sometimes it gives you the opportunity to raise kids and make a deposit and investment in them. See, it's always going to be up to you. You are 100%, remember this, 100% in control of how you want your life to turn out. If you don't like the way it is today, you know what you need to do? You just need to decide to change it. It really is that simple. Now, there is one more step in that. When you decide to change it, you know what you need to do? You need to believe that that decision is going to produce something in your life that's going to be different than it ever was before.